Today's topic, I'd like to talk about creating a source of infinite value within yourself, creating a feeling and a sensation of self-worth, and how that can be kind of a difficult thing to do, especially if you're trying to make your circumstances change to create different things so that you can feel that sense of worth within you. But here on this channel, we're going to talk about how to create within yourself that which you seek outside of yourself, seeking it within first. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Law of Attraction Detox, where we detoxify from toxic techniques. Instead, we focus on our true nature, right here in the present moment, here in our heart, expanding our conscious awareness out onto our screen of reality, creating that which we desire from a pure place, from a place of wholeness, from being completely online and on board with the life that is flowing through us effortlessly if we choose to create that. We're here wiping away the debris of obstacles so that we can have a clear perspective on our life, one from a place of love, one from a place of compassion and understanding, one from a place of infinite value from within. If you'd like help with that, I do powerhouse hypnotherapy sessions as well as weekly coaching. I help you get into the state of being where you already have what you desire, and then it can effortlessly manifest from there. I'm watching my clients remove obstacles that they've had their whole lifetime, and in an instant, changing their entire paradigm and never becoming the same human again. From that place, the whole world shifts. People start to call you. You start to get circumstances change, opportunities, the gentle intuitive nudges to do what is the next best thing to bring you closer to that which you really truly desire, which is what your soul is nudging you to experience. Your soul wants you to experience this thing. Maybe it's a partnership with a romantic partnership. Maybe it's a business opportunity. Maybe there's, maybe there's just like a million things that you want to have experience in this lifetime. And I'm going to tell you, you can have all those things happen in this lifetime. But once you get into this state of being, to be honest, you don't really care if it comes or not. And honestly, you only want the best thing to come. Like in this situation with a partnership, a relationship, a specific person, you don't want anything to come in and mess up your world, because you've become so valuable within. And I might get a little bit sassy in this video because let me tell you, there are too many people walking around tiptoeing on eggshells who are afraid to mess up relationships. They're afraid to speak up. They're afraid to say what they want. They're afraid to go first because they are afraid of what? Afraid of maybe being made fun of, and that's your inner child that's afraid of the time that they got made fun of when they were little. Or maybe they're afraid that the person that they really truly want won't want them back. Or maybe they're afraid they're going to be alone and then they'll be rejected, or they'll be abandoned, or they'll feel lonely. And from my experience, that comes from an inner state of lack of self-worth, a feeling of, I'm not worthy enough to have someone love me. I'm not worthy enough to even state what I want and need in this relationship. And that is really, truly a sad place to be. And I've been there and it sucks. And so I don't want you to be there anymore if you're experiencing that. And I'm going to help you shift that in this video. If you want help though, contact me below in the description box. I can work with you one-on-one to discover what it is within you that might be causing you to behave differently. It might be causing you to think differently and perceive your situations differently. Specifically when it comes to a specific person, let's say you have an attraction to someone, you kind of like them. Instantly you start to kind of hope, maybe this is the person, maybe this is the one, or you get a bunch of synchronicities and signs that say, this is the person, this is the one. But then your inner lack of self-worth kicks in. And it starts to go into hyperdrive. It starts to want to protect you. It starts to tell you, oh, they're not replying. They must be into someone else. Oh, they said this or that. They must not be into me. Your mind will start to search for your lack of value. It will start to search for evidence of it. And that's what this big mind program is for. It's a big computer program searching for evidence of whatever we have entered into it. And usually the entries all came from the time when we were 0 to 9, when we had barely an understanding of the world. We were learning from our parents, so we took on their belief system as our own because that was that's how we're built. We have mirror neurons in our cells that mirror what we see, especially when we're little. And so now you are still living potentially from this old paradigm of, I'm not valuable enough. Maybe in school you got picked on, or maybe in school you had to wait at the end of the line. And so you thought, oh, I'm at the end of the line, I must not be that great. I want to share with you a little story from my little girl self so that you can see just how intricate and weird this psyche is woven. When I was young, I was 5 in kindergarten, first grade, something like that. I think it was first grade, we started learning how to read. And I was the youngest child of 8, so there was a lot of older siblings, much, much older. And they all had homework, and they all did, studies. They were in junior high, high school, college, adults, everything. And so I was always trying to keep up with them. I always wanted to be as smart as them, right? That's what you do. You try to be an adult when you're 5 or 6. Well, that's what I felt like I should do. Anyway, and so when I was in school, they segmented us into groups. There was like 4 or 5 round tables. And each one of these groups was a reading group. And so this group was at this reading level. So they had these kids at this level. And this group was at that level. And I was in this level of readers. And because none of us were really that great at reading, we're all stumbling over words, we're all trying to read, I immediately somehow assumed that I was in the group of kids that didn't know how to read that well, that I was in the worst group of kids, the worst reading level, right? I thought I was in that group because we were all kind of just learning how to read. I found out this was years later. So my whole childhood school life, I thought I wasn't that great of a reader. I thought I was kind of slow at reading. I thought reading was kind of hard for me, even as like a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. I didn't find out until I was in my 20s that I was actually in the group of kids that could read really well. Like I was in the one that could actually read. And because of that, they didn't want me to be held back, just going over A, B's, and C's. They wanted me to actually be going home with extra work. And I also took that impression that I was going home with extra work to read these little workbooks because I needed more help in reading because I couldn't do it. And it was actually the opposite. It was like, oh, she's really smart. She's a little bit ahead of the game. She needs to go home and be pushed a little into, studies. So it's so fascinating to me that my self-worth was, in the very beginning of life, lower than it could have been. I didn't realize that I was actually an intelligent kid. I didn't realize that I had value at a very young age. How does that play out in your life? I want you to really be honest with yourself. How is this playing out in my life? It's one of the most frustrating things, too, to be able to see and look back in time at how you behaved in a less than desirable way because you were, coming from a place of low self-worth. It's really frustrating. I was very frustrated with myself for a very long time because I knew on a knowledge base, like I understood that I could be valuable and I was valuable, and that just because I was born and in a body and alive, that meant therefore that I'm a valuable being. But I wasn't able to embody it for a very long time because I kept searching outside of myself for the circumstances to validate me that I was actually worthy and valuable. And so this is a conscious thing that you must really find the discipline, honestly, to have, is to sit with yourself in the day and ask yourself this question. What would it feel like? What would my life look like if my value was being shown in my circumstances? What would my value in the world look like? Well, I would be having this job. I would be in the best position, or I would be chosen by the person that I like, or I would just really feel relaxed, and I would feel at ease. I'd feel like I could speak up about what I want and what I don't want, and what I like and what I don't like. And I would feel really confident in myself. Okay, great. Those are the things I'm gonna really focus on today, is noticing, when am I feeling not confident? And more than likely, that little kid part of yourself needs you to come and give it attention and say, hey, I love you and I think you're really amazing. And give that child a whole list of reasons why you're pretty freaking amazing. Acknowledge that maybe he or she is very afraid of rejection or afraid of being abandoned, or just acknowledge whatever it is. I hear that you are feeling insecure. You're actually afraid to go and do that speech in front of the whole office tomorrow. And it's going to be, it might be a little bit scary, but I think you're incredible. And every one of those people are just going to admire you for being bold and for being authentic, and just sharing how you feel. Like you could get up and have this conversation with someone and say, I feel really, my chest is tight right now. I feel really anxious and afraid to have this conversation with you, but I care about you. I'm going to have it anyway. And I just want to share with you that I'm already feeling nervous about it. Like that authenticity is value, because you value yourself enough to share with another human how you're feeling. And it's not coming from a place of blame. It's coming from I'm feeling whatever, fill in the blank, little nonviolent communication. Look that up. It's really helpful for all sorts of communication tools. It's really coming down to, how do I show up for myself in this world? If I don't show up for myself and take care of myself, then I must not think that I'm very valuable. I'm going to shift that. I'm going to start with the inner child work. And from that state, naturally my actions will start to shift. I will naturally start to take care of my body better. I will naturally start to eat better. I will naturally start to think better about myself. I will naturally have better boundaries, because when you have a belief that you are valuable, and it's not something that you have to tell yourself anymore, you just know you are, you will start to have better boundaries. I'm going to talk a little bit too about this self-love journey I've been on. For a long time, I did self-love practices. I love you. I'd hold myself. I'd sit in my bed or the couch and just wrap myself up. I love you. I would look in the mirror. I love you. You're amazing. I would love myself. But there was a moment in time on my journey that I realized I love myself, but I didn't like myself. And so that was a really hard pill to swallow. Like, oh, this doesn't taste good. I don't like myself. And so I made a list of the things that I didn't like. I don't like that I'm this or that, just like, I don't like that I show up and I feel like needy or insecure. Well, what would remedy that? Well, maybe if I show up with, what do I have to give? How can I give and be of service? Then maybe I won't feel like I need something from people. And then it was like, oh, that's easy. Cool. I'm going to and I think right away I was like, texted friends like, hey, how are you doing? Hey, do you need anything? Like, it just felt like, yeah, I want to be of service, not feeling like the friend that's needy all the time. There was just little things that I was like, well, I just don't like that I'm not like doing this or that. And so I started joining groups. I started volunteering at a place. I started, I was already doing music and dance and things like that, but, I started doing more activities I enjoyed. Just really focusing on personality traits that I didn't enjoy about myself, and being really honest and asking myself, how can I shift these things? And it's not an overnight thing, it's a practice, but that creates and cultivates more inner value within you, because now you're a good friend, you care about people, you're there for others, you could be an ear for people to hear, but to hear people's journey and how you can help them. And then you become really valuable, not only in your own eyes, but in other people's eyes. And then it just happens naturally, where you begin to have boundaries and you begin to state what you need and express how you feel in a healthy way. And you just keep improving. So that's, my friend, the journey of discovering value within yourself. And it doesn't come from shoving more affirmations down your throat. It's more and more being honest with yourself. How can I show up with more value? If you want help with this, you want me to help discover your inner value, that's what I'm here for. I'm helping with the mindset coaching. I'm helping with the inner child reprogramming and hypnotherapy. And I'm having just amazing, incredible, lifelong results with people. I've still talked to clients from 2 years ago, and they're like, wow, yeah, that session is I am still seeing the effects, positive effects of how it has changed my life. Contact me below. If you have any comments about more topic ideas, let me know. If you haven't already, please join the membership only page where I go into more tips and tools like this. I'm going specifically into other realms of topics that I don't normally talk about on the channel, like consciousness, tips and tools, doing the hypnosis, the gentle guided meditations. I'll get more of those on that part as well. And as well as just creating a community of people who really truly care about this stuff and want to be a part of the detox tribe, who want to detoxify from toxic techniques and instead want to focus on their true nature and want to watch and witness how their life will naturally transform when you do these little practices that I talk about. So I hope to see you over there as well. And make sure you check out the live chats on Wednesdays at 3:33 p.m. PST. Until then, I love you so much. Mwah. Bye for now.